You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Palace of Mega Pencils. This is Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo!
Welcome to the final episode of the year of Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. I'm your host, Stephen White. With me, as always, is my co-host, Lacey Finley.
Happy Monday. And I guess the rest of 2022.
Yeah. I mean, we've still got, or everybody listening still got Christmas to look forward to. Hanukkah started today. So if that's your bag. And then the new year.
Yep.
So I hope everyone has...
Here's the kickoff.
Enjoy your holidays, whatever you celebrate. I don't know all the celebrations, because I'm sure there are
happy
more.
December.
Yeah.
However you spend it. Yeah.
Happy holidays. It's not a bad thing to say. I know some people are like, you got to say Merry Christmas. What does it mean it's Happy Holiday? Who cares? Everyone celebrates whatever. It's all... arbitrary. It doesn't matter.
There's plenty of us who just would like to wipe them off the map altogether. Nobody cares about our feelings. So
yeah, that's true.
Know what? I wish you wouldn't tell me anything at all. How's that?
How about that?
You know? Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I've tried to understand how I feel about this time of year now. I don't care if I get a gift. I don't care if I get anything from anybody, and if you want to do that, fantastic, I'll take it. Sure. But I like the concept. I think that's what I enjoy. I would like
the idea of the holiday.
Yeah, where you get together with family and you just hang out and you just enjoy each other's time. Like for me, that's where I'm kind of at now. And I'm okay with that. And I kind of hope that, over time, other people will just kind of fall in line. But if you want to be commercial about it and all about your gifts and whatnot, sure, go for it. But I don't know, just waking up in the morning and watching my kid open her presents, that makes her happy. That makes me happy. Do I need anything? Yeah. No, I don't. I don't want anything. So... I feel like I got enough of my own stuff. You know what I mean? If I want it, I'll go get it. Yeah, it's like
you reached the age when there was something you wanted, you just go get it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this time of year, I'm like, I don't know what to get me. I refill my life as I need it.
And even to the effect of gifts, I guess where I'm at with gifts is if you see something and you think of me immediately and say, that person needs that gift, then yes, I will absolutely 100% love something like that because you thought of me and that was your instinct and you had to get it for me. Fantastic. That probably means more to me because of that moment where you had that thought and you said, I have to get that for this person because I thought of them in this very moment. Yeah. That means a lot because there was something about it that clicked. But, I don't know. I like the all the snacks, even though I shouldn't. It's not that I can't.
Yeah, I was gonna say indulge once in a while.
I have been because there's a lot of. I don't know why I'm on this peppermint kick. Like I'm not a fan really of just straight peppermint. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
me either.
Peppermint flavoring and stuff for some reason, I get a kick out of it this time of year. I don't know what it is.
Maybe it's just that feeling of holidays for you, peppermint. Maybe as a kid, did your parents make a lot of peppermint snacks for Christmas? Maybe, or
I don't remember.
Always had a peppermint in her purse for dry mouth. I don't know.
I honestly don't recall anything like that growing up. Now, one thing I do remember eating a lot of as a kid, and I've tried to come back to them today, and I honestly, genuinely feel that all of the ingredients and the things that we eat have changed, or it's just my taste buds. It's one of the two, because it's just not the same. Like, it doesn't hit the same way. But I used to love those little shortbread cookies with the red and green sprinkles on it, and it'd just be little Christmas cookies. I used to love them. I've tried them today, and it's not the same. I just don't. Yeah. It's like, this is not good.
It could be both.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure ingredients and stuff have changed to make things cheaper so they can, make more money.
Sure.
And or your taste buds could have changed as well.
Yeah, they don't hit the same way. So it's a little disappointing, because I have those fond memories of that little bag, and it had all the holiday decorations on the bag, and I don't know what it was. There was just something about the cookie and then the sprinkles, and you dig around. Like, you normally get a lot of the red ones, but I'd always dig for the green ones. It's like they were rare in the bag for some weird reason for me.
Even though it's all the same sugar. Yeah.
So, I don't know. I have a lot of fond memories of the holiday, and I think that's why I like to kind of hang on to that. But I don't have any traditions that we have to do this. Like, I know people like watching their Christmas movies. I do too, but do I have to watch them? Do I feel like my holiday was empty because I didn't watch? Hard? Yeah. No, don't get me started on that. We've been talking about that or rambling.
I'm just saying, like, that's a tradition for a lot of people, regardless of how you feel about it being a Christmas movie. It's a whatever you want it to be movie if it's a tradition for you.
It's not a Christmas movie. I'm just going to say that. Anyway.
It starts.
Yeah, it starts. I'll fight on that. No, like whatever you want, but Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. Anyway. I want to share a little story because YouTube strikes again.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I got another.
What now?
I got another.
Is it all bots? Do we have lots of bots? I hear all YouTubers complaining about free prize bots taking over their name in their comment section.
No, this is one of those. I got another. It's not a strike, but it was another. Are you okay? We're worried about you, but we're also going to age.
Same video?
Nope. This was the director's commentary video where I am explaining within the video, this is all make-believe. I was not thinking about committing suicide at any point in time. It's all a lie. And I'm making jokes throughout the video.
We don't know anymore, man.
I know. And I honestly,
it's a rough thing. Yeah. So
and yeah, to be fair, don't think I'm minimalizing that, because even this week
that's a difficult disease.
Yeah, even this week I know that there was a guy. Now I don't know if a lot of people would even know who he is, and it kind of took me off guard when I saw the name trending on Twitter. But he went by the name of Twitch, and I can't remember his actual name, which. Apologies.
Right.
But,
I don't think that I was really too aware of him ahead of time. I believe I've seen him before, but it wasn't.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. I knew him from, like, he was a personality on the was it Ellen's Game of Games?
That's what I was reading. Yeah, that he did a lot on Ellen's show. Like,
I remember seeing him on that, and it was like, he always seemed like a really cool guy. Seemed like he was positive, upbeat, and. He committed suicide at 40, and
this disease is awful.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
Yeah, you don't know what anyone's going through, and I hate it because we've lost quite a few this year to this very thing. Yeah. And again, I'm not trying to minimize anything by saying that I got stricken by YouTube, because honestly, I feel like it was their algorithm seeing the title. Or just seeing the name, the word suicide in it, even though it says suicide story, director's commentary. The short film that I did is off in the corner as I'm talking about it. And it's just me talking about it. And I made it for that explicit reason to say, do not worry about me. This was me in some kind of artistic phase where I was trying to be,
edgy kid.
Yeah, the edgy, indie filmmaker. Look at what I'm doing. Look at the edgy content. I look back on those years and, man, just the pretentious attitude. Because I thought I knew everything.
We always kids do when we're a kid. It's hilarious. The least amount of life lived, and we're like, ugh, nobody gets it. We've got it figured out in our 20 years we've lived here.
It's like, I've watched Jim Jarmusch's Coffee and Cigarettes, and I've also watched David Lynch's Eraserhead. I know film. And even today, I watch Eraserhead going, I don't know what the fuck is going on. But I'll watch it again. It's weird, weird-ass movie.
Because we're told it's important or whatever.
Yeah, I'm sure there are deeper subtexts in there that I have picked up on, but I could not tell you for the life of me what it is. It's just a bizarre movie.
Yeah.
But at the time, I thought, look what he's doing. He's doing a movie where no one can understand what's going on, and that's art, baby.
Yeah.
So that was that time of my life. And did it pay off? No. But I did it anyway because I was trying stuff. I was trying it out. I was trying to be a filmmaker.
It's experience still nonetheless.
And that's how I look at it. And pretty sure in that commentary, I pointed out a lot of the things that I'm talking about right now. And I highly recommend watching those commentaries because I did it for all my short films back in 2004. I know this sounds like promotion, but I'm just saying I think it's fun. It's a way for myself to kind of go back and listen to my nonsense and just be like, yeah, it seems on point. Because I don't know what I said back then. That was a few years ago. I don't remember yesterday.
Right? It's like, once you start getting past a week, I've lost all. I don't know how long anything is anymore.
What have you been playing?
Ooh, this week I got into Griftlands. It's another RPG. So I guess kind of think like, did you ever play the original Dragon Age?
No. I only played, what was it, Inquisition?
So the newest one.
I and I didn't even finish it, so.
Okay. Well, that's fair because the first one really is Bay. That's the best one, and the rest we take as we can.
Yeah.
I pretend 2 doesn't exist, but anyway, the first one so Griftlands. My point was it kind of plays like that, where when you're off on the map and you're going to and from, like random events could happen. Role playing game, that you can collect other people to help you along the way, or maybe new weapons or something to that effect. But the combat, you're gonna not be surprised here, is more of like the card-based kind of combat. But what I think was funny about this one, you're playing kind of like a merc in the Griftlands. There's 3 different characters that you can unlock after you've played like the first one, finished one story. Looks like there's different prestige levels yet. I haven't quite figured out if it's all just going to make it harder each run or if there's something new that'll actually happen each run. But yeah, so like you're just a merc in the Griftlands, depending on which story, you're all kind of still like a grifter for hire or whatever. And then you could choose which side you might want to work with or the different people along the way. And you get different perks, of course, depending on who likes you or, different things to that nature. But what I thought was cute was that you'll even have debates, like intimidation, and it'll be kind of the same way where you have to battle at your argument, which I thought was kind of adorable because I'll even throw up like sub arguments or, straw man arguments or something that they have to attack before they can attack my main argument. I just thought it was kind of fun.
Sure.
The fact that, all my whataboutisms, if you will, you got to attack all these too because I'm confused and you have, and you can either intimidate them or just be diplomatic about it, depending on how you want to stack your deck and play the thing. But I thought that was kind of cute too, that I can kind of intimidate or wear them down before a battle if I win.
Sure.
If I don't, well then, anga, here we go. But yeah, I've gotten really into that this week because the randomness of it too has kind of kept it a little bit more interesting. It does have permadeath. I mean, you can turn it off if you want to just do story or whatever, where you can at least start a day over. But nope, if I die, then just that runs over. And then you start a new run. But enough randomness of it that as I'm traveling around, new things will still be popping up for me, where you think I would just want to skip through real fast to get past the part that I think I've already done, No, might be some new random ones in there that I hadn't seen. So I've definitely been getting into those types of games lately.
All right.
But Griftlands. I unlocked the 3rd character last night. I just haven't played him yet.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so far I've just been, a grifter merc, and then the other one's a spy that I was playing, and oof. You can like choose sides, but they don't make it easy, man. Neither side's really that great. So I think you just have to suck it up. You're like, here, she's not a good person. You just got to lean into it. I don't think there's like really good choices you can make when you're, a merc for hire in the Griff lands.
Right.
Probably. You're just needing to make that money, or shills. Sorry, it's
Sure.
shills in the game. I got to make my shills. shills, y'all, But outside of that was pretty much it, because I also had to do, the adult stuff this week and get the Christmas shopping done.
Right,
blah, blah,
right.
blah. So my extra free time, I actually did that. Man alive.
Yeah, I know.
That's like a whole to-do anymore, but it is what it is. How about you? What have you been playing?
Well, we're going to be talking about one of the games later, but obviously I've been playing Moonlighter still. I'm probably like at the last section of the game, and it's amazing the farther you get into the game, because early on you feel like you're struggling to make money, you're struggling to get all your armor upgraded, but once you start finding that rhythm, you can start making bank no time at all. Like as soon as I crossed the $1 million threshold, I was like, yeah, oh yeah, I'm owning this town. So it was just a matter of getting all my gear up and kind of learning pacing to it, because I think I would get a little ahead of myself at first, trying to see how far I would go before, because you've got like the 3 dungeons and then you get to the final boss of the dungeon. And I had to learn at some point, go as far as you can, get what you can, and then just come out and then go back later. Don't worry about trying to get, too far, because the moment I would try to just keep pushing, I would usually wind up dead because I was not prepared. Yeah. And I said, just take what you got, go sell it, make some money, upgrade your gear, go back, and then you'll sort it out. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
And the longer I've been doing that and trying to get into that pace, I've been finding new little items, because you can collect. I don't know if I mentioned this in one of the last times that I mentioned it, but you can find these eggs, just randomly as you're searching and dungeon scavenging. And the eggs will then hatch into a little buddy you can take along with you. Now, I've been trying out each one of the little buddies, trying to find out which one works best for me. I know that some people, you have your preference. I've got this one little buddy that as soon as I used him, I was like, I like this one. And I would try out some of the others, and I don't know, they just didn't feel like they were helping like this one was. This one's got a little helicopter on its head, and it'll go and attack all the other enemies. So if I'm far away from it, it'll go take care of something. So even if it was like a real small enemy, it could be strong enough to just kind of kill it real quick, so it takes care of it, and I don't have to worry about it, and I can focus on something bigger. And if there's nothing else on the map, it'll hone in on that last one and just go after it. So it's like an extra hand. Furthermore, since it's a little helicopter, it's got little grips on the bottom, and if there's an item out of reach, it'll go grab it and bring it to me. And sometimes it could be in an area where there's lava or electric water, stuff, areas that I can't touch, and it'll go pick it up and bring it to me. And I'm like, thank you, buddy. You're such a nice little pal.
Yeah, good little pet.
And I don't know if there's a better one than that, but so far he's been a loyal little buddy. So I like him. But
there you go.
I've got my shop. My shop is now an emporium. It's got all the room in the world. I still have not paid my assistant for any work.
Okay.
Because, my money. I'm being, and there's apparently
and he's still showing up.
Yeah, they walk around. I don't think I will say this. One time they stopped a shoplifter. So I appreciate that.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think I would have let them take it if you were my boss, from the sounds of things. I'd be like, I don't get paid at all, so you just take whatever. I ain't putting myself in harm's way.
Hey, I'm not paying them out of any. I mean, if I'm paying them in some form, like if they're getting a cut of something, then great. But I'm not giving them 30% of my profits. I mean, I need that money. Now, granted, at this point, maybe I don't, but I'm just saying.
Eventually your children will want for nothing, and you're going to have to keep passing that generational wealth down so that they can be little shits for the rest of us.
Exactly.
Yeah, see? I know how this game works.
And this is a game that I think I would have attempted, the platinum on at one point, but now I'm just
far.
Well, no, there are little things that I'm just like, I don't want to do that. Like, there was one in particular, it was like, kill the final boss with a broom. And a broom is like one of your first weapons that you have. So, I mean, it does well, but, I sold it as soon as I saw it, and I was like, I don't need this. I got a sword now. I got a spear.
Can you just go buy a broom real fast?
I can.
Shop or something, and then go beat dude, and then.
Yeah, there is another guy who is in the town who like upcharges everything that I sell. So if you need something, like if you really, really need an item to upgrade your stuff, he's like, well, I have this, but if you want to buy it, he's like, fuck you.
Convenience fee.
Yeah, so he was selling the broom, and I've already beaten most of the enemies, so I don't think there's a way to go back and fight them. So I think I've missed those trophies, and I'm not going to go back and do that.
Yeah, no.
So I don't need it.
I never even look at achievements. So when I hear you like, I'm so close to platinum, I'm like, how do you even know?
I mean,
you have to go out of your way to look.
I do.
What they are, huh?
I do.
Okay.
It just depends on what it is. Now now that you mentioned it, and let me see if I can find it, because I may have deleted the email, but I got my, because every year we all get these, your end of the year, whatever the fuck and whatnot. So I got my PlayStation end of the year.
Oh, yeah, where they're like, look
stats.
what you did this year. And it's like, thanks for reminding me.
Yeah. So here's my wrap up. I was a little surprised because I felt like after I looked at it, I was like, did I just not play a lot this year? Because I felt like I did. But maybe I just didn't play a lot in the sense of a variety of games. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So, according to this stats, in 2022, and this sounds absolutely ridiculous when I think of all the time I didn't play games. So if I was playing games in the time that I wanted to play games, holy shit, I would have had so much more. Yeah. Apparently I played 546 hours. And this was...
For the whole year?
For the whole year. This is 24 more hours than last year. Don't know how that's possible. And 5% more playtime. Now, 500 were local, 46 were online, 156 total number of days. So, that's almost a school year. And I spent no time in VR. So, which I'm surprised. I didn't realize I didn't touch my VR this year.
I don't think I've used any of mine for a bit either. Yeah.
359, of those hours were PS5 titles, and then 188 were PS4 titles.
Interesting.
Yeah. Let's see here. They
I don't know that Steam does that. Like, I was just looking now to see, and I don't see anything that tells me my year in Steam or whatever.
Well, they put these other little things at the back end of it, which I don't understand why they do that, where it's comparing some of the bigger games, and it's like, yeah, but if it doesn't pertain to me, why do I care?
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Apparently, I've only played 21 games, which sounds like a decent amount. My top 5, and I'm going to start from 5 to 1, Marvel's Avengers, which...
Okay.
You
played it a while?
Yeah, but see, that's where I get so confused by it, because I don't feel like I played it a lot. Like, I know I played it, but I guess considering it was such a small chunk of the year, that I felt like, did I not play something more earlier in the year?
Well, Maybe because you could keep playing that one, whereas maybe if you played a campaign story and you were just done and you put it down.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Number 4 was God of War Ragnarok, which I just
Okay.
went and played from beginning to end, so there were no bullshit moments in that. I just did everything I needed to do and got out. Number 3, which I was really surprised by, was Lego Star Wars, the entire trilogy,
Well,
or
you were
Skywalker
star
trilogy.
hunting.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Number 2, again, surprising that this tops that one, considering I was doing a lot of that extra stuff, was Horizon Forbidden West,
Okay.
which, again,
Maybe that stupid trying to swim ate up so much time.
maybe.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh, yeah, keep doing story and I can do this. Yeah.
The most played, though, which, when I think about it, it does make sense, I guess, was No Man's Sky.
Okay.
And that's probably where the online options came in. Apparently, I played 109 hours. So, yay,
Okay.
I guess.
Well, they keep updating it. I mean, shoot. I think
that's true.
Had quite a few still. Yeah. So.
But apparently,
Interesting.
my favorite genre was action adventure. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
And out of my trophies, I have earned 431. And out of those trophies, 278 were bronze, 100 were silver, 48 were gold, and 5 were platinum. I feel like I'm jumping down. I'm not getting, I gotta do better. I thought it was great.
Gotta do more. Okay.
Now, it also tells me my milestones, which I feel like my latest trophy is not accurate now. I think it was the moment this dropped, which was a few weeks ago. So my latest trophy was Slime Protection Service, which was in Moonlighter. I couldn't tell you what that was about. So, there it is. But to see what my first trophy was is surprising. Got it back.
Year?
No, my first trophy ever.
Oh, okay.
But it also tells you what game I was playing. The very first game I put in when I got my PlayStation 3, all that stuff. Got it in February of 2013. It was Happy Birthday from Heavy Rain.
Interesting.
So
that was your very first.
That is my absolute very first trophy. So I kind of found that to be interesting. I was like, yeah, but that tracks, because I was intrigued by the game. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try this out, because it was something new, it was something different that I hadn't tried before.
But I feel like even the very first game you would have played, whenever achievements became a thing.
But see, I got into the PlayStation game late, because that would have been about the time that the Wii U kind of flopped, and I didn't have any games to play, and I was like, screw this, man, I'm gonna go get a PlayStation. And then I had this swath of games, and I think that was actually one of the first physical games that I got, because I'd heard people talk about it and said, dude, this is like an interactive movie, you got to try it. And I was like, okay,
I really liked it.
So did I.
I get its criticisms, but I liked it.
Yeah. Was it what was the kid's name? Jason. Final one was PlayStation. Sean. The PlayStation Plus. I don't know why they even put this in there, because I was granted access via PlayStation Plus. So I got 833 games at my disposal.
Look at you.
Did I play them? No.
Played like 4.
Apparently I played 37 hours online with PlayStation Plus. I played 66 of the monthly PlayStation Plus games added. And obviously my top multiplayer game was No Man's Sky.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting
You're in gaming.
See the stats. I mean, we shared our stats for the show on Discord if you wanted to come see those, for all you lovely people.
For the pod.
Yeah, because we got that from Spotify. We did pretty well, just seeing all the growth. That was kind of nice.
Yeah, and like just the different areas that listen around the world was interesting as well. So, hi.
Exactly. Hi. If I could say hello in your language, I would, but I don't.
Yes.
If I don't. Did we have
Bonjour? I think we had one from there.
Konnichiwa. Japan.
There you go.
There we go.
Was there?
I'm
Probably,
learning
I think
Japanese,
so.
or at least I'm still trying. I haven't given up on that.
For a lot of them.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Hi. Hello there.
Welcome. I mean, that seems pretty universal, right? Saying hi?
I think most probably languages know hi.
Yeah.
Or have heard of it at some point. Unless you're like super rural and doing your thing, in which case, you do you.
Yeah, that's true.
You know.
What do you got in the way of news? Because I got one little tidbit, but I want to hear what you got first. You may have covered that very same thing.
Oh, who knows? I think we're kind of winding down the end of the year, of course. So, like, the big breakout news, not as much. I think we're winding down. People are starting to take their vacations and their breaks and stuff. So, a couple of things that I thought might be interesting to chat with you about. And one that I think you might be excited about. You've probably already seen it, knowing you, but we'll see. Already had like a release date for the new Spider-Man 2. And way sooner than I thought, if I'm honest with you. I thought we had like a couple of years, maybe, if they're saying fall of 2023.
That's what I was hearing, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. It just seems so quick. Or maybe I just don't understand time anymore. The older I get, the faster things go. But
I mean, to be fair, if you remember, I remember this very clearly. When we were in Boston, our very first PAX trip, that weekend, they dropped the pre-orders for the original Spider-Man. And that would have been in 2018. So that came out that year. So it's been 5 years.
Has it really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because I snatched that up that weekend. I remember that very clearly.
Yeah. I probably, the hubs probably did too. I don't know.
That was one of those I didn't have any reservations about. There are some, sure, you kind of want to wait and see, but I felt strongly about it. I was like, this is going to be good.
This is going to be good.
This is going to be great. So
yes. And it was. And they're remaking it for PC and all this kind of stuff. So, I'm starting to get to the point where I may not even have to worry about buying an extra console or anything.
It is true,
since all the biggest reasons why, well, myself personally, the hubs would still love it, so I'm sure we would still get it. He does prefer console gaming. But like the only biggest reason why I wanted to grab a PlayStation is because they had really good exclusives that I wouldn't be able to play elsewhere. I'm personally loving that they're coming to PC. I won't have to if I didn't want to.
It's a good strategy because it's not the same. As we've pointed out numerous times, console gaming and PC gaming are not the same. They can be, but they're not. And I can't wait to see, I'm sure they're out there already, all the mods people are going to be doing to this game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why I think I love a lot of PC gaming the most, too, because does it need to happen? No, but the tomfoolery is just so funny sometimes.
Sure.
I mean, what was it, playing the Resident Evil 2?
Yeah.
And putting, like, the big boss guy in a thong.
Yeah.
Having the thong song playing as he's chasing you. Like, necessary? No. But entertaining?
Absolutely.
Come on. That's hilarious. Who you are.
And speaking of Spider-Man, I don't know if you saw this or not, but this past week, we saw the first full trailer for, well, I guess it was a teaser, but it was still kind of a trailer for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
I was seeing the buzz going around with that. Yes.
There were a lot, because I was curious too. I don't want things spoiled for me for a movie, but at the same time, when you're kind of showing me a clip, I'm a little curious, especially when you're going real fast. Sure. And there was like this hub of all the Spider-Men, and you get to see all these little, so many Spider-Men, and I was like, I want to see who you're kind of sliding in, because they could be very, very small Easter eggs, characters you will not see in full form, but just kind of like a little Easter egg in the background.
Yeah.
And the PlayStation 4 Spider-Man and Miles Morales were in the background, and clear as day, you could see the white spider and everything. I was like, that's awesome. That's cool. Spider Cop. I don't know if you remember that joke in the game. He would be talking to the detective that he was working alongside with, and Peter would start going like, I'm Spider Cop. She's like, please don't do this. And he's like, but why? I'm on the hunt for, crime. Yeah. I'm Spider Cop. And she's like, just stop. And
Mr. Spitter Cup.
If you pay attention in the trailer, there is a Spider-Man with a cop uniform, and
Oh,
it's
that's
like,
great.
that's awesome. That's cool. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very minor detail that a lot of people would just be like, huh, okay, yeah, so it's just a version of Spider-Man, whatever. But
Yeah.
it's a deeper Easter egg for all those who know the joke, and I love that.
You know.
So I'm
I
kind of
can
hoping we see a lot more little things like that, because as a huge Spider-Man fan myself, I'm going to be eating that up. I can't wait for this movie. And just little things like that just tickle me, and I'm so excited. So excited.
Well, it's nice to put those little details in there for you to have fun with. You know what I mean? To think it through enough that they'll appreciate this, even if it's only a smaller group.
Yeah, and obviously you can't really, I know you could to a point, but something like this, I feel like with animation, this is one of the reasons I love animation, because you can do those little details. You can do all these little Easter eggs and not bog down the entire movie, versus a live action. They wouldn't have been able to pull this off. No way. Yeah. So I can't wait to see, because, okay, I got another one. I'll even mention this one, because this one to me was a huge, deep cut Easter egg that is so obscure, or at least I feel like to a lot of people would be obscure. But when I saw it, I was like, oh shit, I got excited. So you see a female Spider-Man with red hair, and then you see a little girl walking beside her too, also with red hair, Spider-Man outfit. They are Mary Jane and their daughter, whose name I don't think was May. It's another name, and Annie. That's what it was, Annie.
Okay.
And they are Spinneret and Spiderling, and this is like in an alternate universe where what if Peter and Mary Jane were married, had a kid, and then they all became like a superhero family. And
then she was bit by the spider though then too, right?
No, it was kind of like a genetic.
How would have Mary Jane got it though?
Well, that one I can't remember how all that story went, but I remember reading.
Not that good, is he?
No. But obviously the daughter, she got it like naturally, so she's technically.
Sure, I could understand that one. I guess I was just wondering how wifey poo.
I'm sure there was
powder.
It's been a while since I read it, so I'm assuming it was science or whatever.
Sure, science.
But yeah, I mean, they were just walking by, and again, it would have just been one of those things that to a casual audience member would have been like, oh, that's just, variants, whatever. Okay, they're just throwing shit at the wall. No, these are actual characters in this alternate reality, and I always thought it was kind of fun because it gets to explore like a different, like what if. That's the whole comic is all about. What if?
Right.
What if they were still married and they had a kid? Because I don't know if they're back together. It made me so mad. I'm going to say it now. Peter and Mary Jane are like Clark Kent and Lois Lane. They belong together. And when they broke them up, it broke my heart. So, yeah.
Life is, though, sometimes.
I know. But anyway, I'm going off on a rant. But yeah, I can't wait for that movie. And yeah, Spider-Man on PlayStation and go.
Yeah. No, so I was just shocked that it was that soon. I don't know why I was thinking like 2024. So I was like, all right, here we go. I don't know. I was reading about this, and it seems like maybe I'd be more interested in to hear what people's thoughts were on the next iteration if it does come to fruition. But, Crystal Dynamics is making the next Lara Croft game. I was reading that Amazon Games will be its publisher, which...
Okay.
Yeah, so they're going to be the ones that are helping, I guess, distribute it globally. I believe this is the first one since Square Enix sold off Crystal Dynamics, right? So... to Embracer Group and all of that for the hundreds of millions of dollars or whatever. So I think for me, as I'm reading through this here, are we continuing, you think, from the last Lara Croft? Are they going to reboot the original Lara Croft? Do we have enough to talk about with Lara Croft anymore?
I don't know, because that would be... That's a good question, because I hadn't really thought about it. So with, was it Shadow of the Tomb Raider was the last one?
I think so. And it was a trilogy, right? Like they wrapped, I mean, I guess these kinds of stories can be open-ended forever, but
But do you reinvent it? Like, does the story continue kind of like you would do in God of War, but you reinvent the characters and the settings? Or do you just say, complete reboot, let's do it all over again in some new fashion? Maybe hew closer to the originals? I don't know. That's a good question.
Which I feel like would be more fun now because there's been more distance if you feel the need to reboot a series again and again and again, as we seem to do now. I feel like I would be more interested in seeing maybe something from the older ones or a continuation or a reboot of that. As I feel like we've told that other story. I could just be having my own selection bias because I'm getting a little tired of constantly rebooting, sequeling, doing all of that kind of stuff. Maybe we've just run out of ideas and us humans just have to accept that. We've thought of all the things. I don't know.
Like, I wouldn't be opposed to the story. Like, this is still the Lara Croft that we saw from the last games, but if you want to reinvent the gameplay, sure, do that. So you can still kind of have that, maybe, off in the background, you see like little Easter eggs that say, point to the adventure she had and be like, huh? It's still part of the story. So we're just moving on from there. If you do that, sure. And then you don't have to adhere to all that stuff and say, well, it's got to be the same gameplay. It doesn't need to be that. It doesn't matter.
Well, I guess I would have to see how they would redo it. Because I don't know. I guess like with Lara Croft, Uncharted, a bunch of those, they're all kind of the same game to me. Like it feels like the same game. It's an adventure. It's an action. We're doing crazy, unhuman things. But, for the sake of being a video game, I don't know. I guess I was just curious to see what you think. I don't know, siblings. Are you even excited for another Lara Croft? Would you hope it would be a continuation of what we were just wrapping up? Do you want it to be a wholly new thing?
Now that you're talking about it now, I mean, I kind of want to go and... No, I don't know if I want to revisit that one or not. But you said Uncharted, and I'm sitting there going, man, this is a really good game and really fun story.
They are.
I really want to go back and replay those. Okay, anyway, I'm sorry.
Well, we'll see. I don't know. So this one is definitely going to be in the new Unreal Engine 5. So I'm assuming it's going to look super nice. Play like butter. I don't know. These new engines are really interesting to me. Yeah. Like I would love, I think we've talked about this. I want to talk to a developer who's done all the things. I want to see just like how much easier it's made their lives.
Sure. Yeah.
Because like especially this last one with, I don't know. Did I talk about this last week or the week before? Maybe in a side conversation with you where they were showing how they were putting in trees in the engine and stuff. And in the new Unreal Engine, and that it can just drop like a fully rendered all the way around with that new nanite technology and everything too for the lighting with the shadows and everything. So it's no longer just looks like cardboard cut out of trees in the background until you get closer. Like they're all just rendered trees that you just plop in your game. And I'm like, to me, that just seems like we've made it so much easier, or they have. I had nothing to do with it, but you're not having to code a tree. Sure. Maybe the lawsuits over trees will stop.
Perhaps.
Nobody created anything, right? I don't know. Or does that make you sad? Because everyone's going to have kind of maybe more of a cookie cutout kind of landscape. I don't know. I'm not good enough with all of the different bells and whistles you can do on these engines, but.
Well, I mean, for something like that, I mean, it should, let me rephrase that, it should make game development easier, should make it faster, because we don't have to worry about trying to render some, like you said, some tree, one little tree just to make it work. So if we can just drop it in, because I mean, think about it, something like, should go back to Spider-Man for a minute. So all of New York, to be as specific as possible to create New York. I understand that certain buildings are going to need their own, design, because I mean nothing looks like the Chrysler Building, nothing looks like the Empire State Building, so they have to have their own thing. But for trees, if you're plopping in trees, Central Park, there you go. You got a bunch of trees. You don't need a special tree.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to like redo the entirety of it, which is why you build engines in the first place, right?
Right.
So that it's easier for you to create your games moving forward. Or one of. So, all right, we'll see. I think I would, if we're going to redo it again, I think I'd be more interested in seeing something from like the older ones. I feel like we've tied up her story nice and neat. Personally, I know we can always pull at threads to keep things going, as long as we need to. Because those kinds of games, I think, can be open-ended like that. You're just putting them in a new adventure and off you go, which is fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's also a formula. This I wanted to talk to you about for sure. Because, like, I don't know what this would even, or how entertaining this would even be. I don't know. But I don't know if you saw the interview, or, well, the article, that they're actually talking about doing a Death Stranding movie, a Death Stranding film.
Don't think I saw that.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But Hideo Kojima's production company is apparently partnered with Hammerstone Studios, which Alex Lebovici.
Sure.
I can't say things. That guy. Apparently, the studios that produced Barbarian, which I keep meaning to see, actually. But yeah, so it's not clear yet who would be writing and directing the picture, but because the plot seems to be kind of under wraps right now. Although, from what I've seen of the game and everything, like what plot really, anyway, like that would keep you on the edge of your seat, I guess, to follow through. I don't know.
Right.
People, you can yell at me. Bring it on. Like, what did I miss? But they are saying it would introduce like new plot elements, new characters within the Death Stranding universe. A full movie on it?
I feel like it could be interesting, but I don't know enough about the game and the narrative to say whether or not it would be. I've heard a lot of people talk great things about it. So
yeah, I mean, and I know everyone, like, especially right now, we're very much Kojima and
crazy.
Kojima's era, like, well, I mean, yeah. So, I mean, I guess with the studio being behind it, maybe that's some good success. Because as I was reading through it, Barbarian, which I've been meaning to watch, Bill and Ted Face the Music, was another one that Hammerstone Studios was involved with. And also when I saw that he worked alongside Sam Raimi for one, I was like, okay, so maybe like I trust the people involved. But I guess I just didn't know that there was enough of a story there to be interesting for a full-on film. I don't know.
I mean, Kojima's stuff, they're story rich. I mean, Metal Gear Solid 5 was that was a lot. Like I felt like I beat the game, and there still felt like there was so much more to do. And I was like, I'm done with this game. I don't know how much more I can do, man.
Yeah, like, I feel like I've done my part.
Yeah,
here on this. I mean, I guess so. Maybe I feel like I've watched enough of the game, especially back when I used to stream and everything, where I would sit there and watch streamers play these things where, yeah, the story seemed fine, everything. I guess just for a full film. I guess I'm also worried you're going to try to do some 4-hour nonsense, which I'm kind of to that point where, I'm sorry, directors, edit your stuff.
I mean, if you're going to go
edit. There's no reason films need to be as long as they are anymore. And
if you're going to go that long, but you're going to have to trim for time, then do a series. Just, go for it.
Right. Okay, but what I think I would love to see is, like, are you going to cast Norman? Is it going to be different people altogether? And I feel like Jeffrey, help me.
Yes.
Jeffrey, I could see his face.
In what?
Dean Morgan.
There
Jeffrey
you go.
Dean Morgan. I almost feel like it would be hilarious to cast him because I feel like everything we've seen him like cross over into, he's already been killed off from in some sort of way.
True.
Like he's becoming the new, what's his name? Sean. That was always
Sean Bean.
Sean Bean was always getting killed. So that was the other thing. I was like, you've already got this like all-star cast in your game.
Yeah. Do you bring that over? Yeah. I don't know. Would you do that though?
Well, if they're saying it might be a new plot, then that's a little bit within that universe. That leads me to think that it probably won't be the same characters that the game was focused on.
Right.
That maybe they're just stealing from the universe, and telling a new story for it within that universe. I don't know. We'll see. I feel like it's so far off, but just when I saw this, my head just immediately went to like, what? We're in that era now.
Okay,
We're
so
in the era of making video game, movie, TV series. I guess that was the progression of things when you ran out of sequels, and we're stealing from that.
Just a thought process. I feel like it would be better to just do something new, so not kind of tread the same ground, because you've already written out this elaborate story with the characters you already had, and these actors did act and gave their performances in that game. Therefore, they should be considered the same. Otherwise, they're doing the same thing again, just in a different medium. Yeah. So I would say best to do something completely new. However, I will advocate that Conan O'Brien needs to make another cameo as some random character. Just because.
Just because now make that a new thing.
Yeah, make it a thing. He's just always there going, I'm Conan, what do you want?
I can get behind that.
Yeah.
I can get behind that. I almost forgot for a moment that he did do that little until you said that. That's funny.
I've even heard him talking about it. It's like, I don't know why I did it. It's just, whatever.
Because you were asked, and as I've been hearing, if Hideo Kojima calls, you say yes. That's what Norman was told. He's going to call you. You say yes.
You say yes.
I'm not into that world yet, but now you are.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're in the gaming world, as like most celebrities, I guess, are doing now.
Mm-hmm. Stealing jobs from people. Anyway.
I honestly, I kind of, and I know that you're allowed to audition and do whatever you want, but some of these, I'm just like, damn it, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
There's so much amazing talent out there that doesn't get a fair shake.
Yeah, anyway. No, I agree.
You might be sad about this. Well, we might be okay for those who were on the PlayStation 5. I'm sure you saw Hogwarts Legacy got delayed again.
But
it looks like it was the previous generation getting delayed.
Yeah,
which leads me to believe, you think it's even going to happen then? Do you think they're just going to knock off this for an Xbox One version?
So Katrina, obviously, the story broke, and then I think it was my daughter's fiance had shared it, and he was like, no, and then Katrina commented, it was like, oh my god, why? And I was like, and then I was
learned from Cyberpunk, they're like, we're not pushing shit until it's ready.
it was just all this sadness. And then came in to Katrina, and I was like, but honey, we have a PlayStation 5, we're okay. And she's like, oh,
for now.
Okay. And it was just like dismissed.
Screw those other plebs, we're good. But that's true. Yeah. So pushes, looks like, just the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions now to April 4th, 2023. Nintendo Switch arriving on July 25th. So even further out. So, I mean, they were looking at a February 10th release, I guess, initially. So moved a couple more months there for that one. But supposedly PS5, Series XS, and PC still on track. 72 hours of early access that you get too, but they took it back on the delayed versions, which I guess means because, well, it would have already been out, so what's early access anymore?
Sure. I mean, I'll be honest with you, this kind of reinforced a feeling that I had as to why I have not pre-ordered this for my wife, because I'm worried that it's going to be buggy. It's going to be broken. They're pushing it fast. And I've seen gameplay and it looks great, but that's a prepared, presentation for that video. Just showing one thing. That's not the entire game. So that's why I have not put the money down. Like, I want to do that for her, but I'm afraid.
I have a different opinion. We're in a day and age where you do not get my money until you finish the game anymore. Like, you're not going to run out of my downloadable codes, unless there's some, thing that they're using to try to hook you into the pre-order. Like, there's a statue you really badly want. There's a thing, if you're a collectible, then you do, or a collector, you do you. But especially now with PC gaming, I can't even remember the last time I've been able to buy a hard copy of anything. You do not get my money until it's done.
Yeah, I get it.
You're not going to run out. And then it'll also give me time to see other people who were very brave to suffer through all of the issues and then maybe I can get it a little bit later after a couple of updates, So that's just me, though.
No, I'm with you. I
I've
get
seen
it.
so many people get burned by pre-order stuff. Even you.
Yeah.
Don't do it anymore. Don't give if you want to do an early access indie title or something, you believe in the title, you want to see it help, and I know that they don't get all this major financing to help them develop the game. Fine, at your own discretion. But like AAA studios, finish the game, and then I will give you money.
Sweet.
How's that? But yeah, so looks like if you're still on the last generation and you were excited for the game, you're just going to have to wait a little bit longer. It looks like they're just having some issues with, probably making all that stuff work on an older generation thing, which we should have moved on by now, I guess. But, life is what it is. Life's weird now.
The fact that the Switch got the most of a delay says a lot. That tells you.
I'm surprised it's coming out on this Switch.
Right?
Like, now, say what you will about Nintendo. I love them for their innovation and everything, but they've never been about power.
No. They used to be. They tried, and then they were just like, it's not for us. They tried.
Well, I thought they always were just more into, the innovation part of it, which I will give them. Like, they've always managed to come up with some really neat, whether it took off or not, it was still a unique way to play a video game that they would come up with.
I mean, I'm looking toward mainly at the GameCube. It's like the GameCube was that one console they were just like, we're going to compete, but we're going to do it in the stupidest way possible by making half discs. And it was like, what are you doing? Right? You could have still done a full disc, you schmucks. And okay, whatever.
Yeah, well, they're still even on cartridges for the Switch unless you download it. So
it's true. And they went back to that. Why? I don't... okay.
Unless it's all a nostalgia bump thing for them because, back to a cartridge, granted, it's way smaller than they used to be, but just be a Nintendo thing. I don't know. I would love to see Nintendo also up it with the power as well.
Yeah.
I would love to see them compete in that space too, because then at least there would be like a third console to compete. Because we're really only down to those two that are going back and forth. And then however this whole thing turns out with, the game developers and who's going to be their boss at the end of the day, like how much more variety we going to get.
I mean, honestly, think about it. A Zelda game with the power of a PlayStation or an Xbox behind it. Holy shit. That would be the best selling game ever. Ever.
Do you think that people might be a little bit more like appreciative of that kind of art style that doesn't need that kind of power? I don't know. Maybe it's just for me because I still very much so original NES Zelda. And I haven't really appreciated any other Zelda game since then. Like even 2 on the Nintendo. Didn't care for it.
I mean, I see what you're saying, but the demand is out there. There are people clamoring to see that with the textures and the detail and just because say what you want about, was it Twilight Princess? That to me was one of my all-time favorite games to look at in the Zelda series because they tried to go a darker route. They tried to make it more realistic looking in a sense, you know what I mean? Yeah. Kind of the more darker color tones and textures and even just the overall aesthetic of it.
Colors, yeah.
And that came out on the GameCube. And I feel like that was at a time they were trying to do something, a little unique. I think it also came out on the Wii. Did it? Yes. I think it was like right there at the cusp.
It was more like a 3D platformer kind of game. Yeah, if I'm remembering it right. Yeah, which I never really appreciated.
But
nobody can really get that camera right still just yet.
But I feel like it's a series or that entry in the series it's fairly dismissed. I don't hear a lot of people talk about it, but you cannot deny the general aesthetic and how it looked. And it's probably one of my all-time favorites in that because of the aesthetic in that way, not gameplay or whatever. Gameplay was fun in my opinion, but the aesthetic of it was one of my all-time favorites to just look at. The music, even going into the castle at the end, they utilized old tracks from Ocarina of Time, but they gave it just this more haunting sound. Oh man, just thinking about it's getting me excited.
I want to go play.
Yeah, I want to see that again, I mean, I appreciate what they're doing with the Breath of the Wild stuff, but that's the Zelda I want. I mean, I like the adventure, and I understand you want to kind of teeter a line somewhere, but I don't know. I want a little darker Zelda just because I'm a grown-up. And
there you
go. Be a grown-up.
Cater to me now, dang it. I know we have listeners that are huge Zelda fans. So what do you think, siblings? Would you be into like what Steven would love to see? Just a really, just a very graphic, heavy, gorgeous looking game. Like, I don't know. Would you say like the Last of Us or something like how we're doing that now? Yeah. Or are you more, you really love the art style of how they're originally going and it might be just too jarring to you? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Let us know your thoughts.
I mean, I'll even use a game that I've never played, but it looks great as an example. Think of Zelda, but with an Elden Ring aesthetic.
Ooh.
Yeah. Think about it.
My God, they'll probably just put some celebrity in there, though, as Link.
Probably, and who won't say a word?
Right?
Just like, Tom Holland's face going.
I was just going to say, like, who's a famous blonde guy right now? Like,
he's the front runner for everybody wanting to be Link, which... I like. We've had this discussion. Tom Holland, they want
him to be Link. I feel like I've missed this conversation.
I've heard it, and look, I don't have an issue with the boy. I love him as an actor.
He's great. He's a cutie. He does good work.
But let's stop trying to put him in everything. People want to bitch and complain about Chris Pratt being everything. You want Tom Holland to be in everything. Stop. He doesn't need to be in everything.
They're obsessed right now, and they just want to see it.
There are other actors.
I don't know. There really are.
Yeah.
I don't know. How about Zelda Williams? Cast her. I would do it. I would watch it. She's adorable. I love her.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least I follow her on Twitter. I think she's amazing. Anyway.
She is.
Let's see. What else did I get here? Just wanted to bring up just because I don't know if anybody even still plays these, so it may not even be that big of a deal. But Epic is shutting down some online services for several looks like older titles. So if it's online only, you're probably screwed if you're in love with one of these titles, just saying, because there's no offline mode or whatever. But it looks like for a lot of them, it's like the Unreal Tournament, Rock Band titles, Dance Central. Yeah. So if you have those games on Epic, looks like as of December 14th. So the date that I was reading this article, like you're done. You're done. They're shutting it down. Games with offline modes will still be playable. So if it has an offline mode, you can still play it. But if they're built solely around multiplayer for some of these titles, it's dead. And I kind of get it, because some of these titles, 2003, 2004, there may not be enough people playing it to warrant keeping those servers active.
Yeah, who's still playing Rock Band?
I don't know. Like Dance Central, which I think I did try and I did enjoy, but it was a VR title, or at least I played the VR title. And now, granted, I was a Beat Saber player. I could get working out and everything in there. For some reason, it was just harder to like dance with that on my head. I don't know why. Like the actual dance moves felt harder than me just like keeping my face still while I'm swatting at a bunch of boxes. I don't know. But it was fun.
Yeah. Does Just Dance still exist? Is that a thing? Because I know.
I'm sure it is. We just don't run in the circles of the people who play it all the time anymore. Yeah. Or at least I don't. But I feel like they're probably still pumping them out once a year. Like anything else. But yeah. So I just thought, I don't know if there's enough of you that were still playing it, and even on Epic at that, like
yeah,
to be playing it on the Epic storefront, I feel like is fewer people. But yeah, they've already removed like Max and Linux versions of some of these games as well. It looks like Hatoful Boyfriend and Hatoful Boyfriend Holiday Star. So I don't know if those were huge. But I thought it was worth it, like maybe you do still play some of these and for some reason you're playing them on Epic, and then now if there's no offline mode, then they're dead. I'm a little sad from a preservation standpoint. I'm just hoping some of these games might be like on other places that you could still,
they have to
with
be
the servers. That once they're done, they're done.
Yeah.
Another problem with doing a bunch of online games, in my opinion, but I don't know. That could just be me. But the last one one that you had actually brought my attention to, but I have to say, I think we were kind of chatting about this a few months ago when I was seeing some hubbub about having the detachable disk drive. But looks like moving forward, possibly anyway, there's a new modular PlayStation 5 consoles that might just be replacing the ones that we know of right now.
Right.
So you won't have like a disk drive version one or just a digital download one. It reads as if you will buy the PlayStation and then can mod it out how you want. Is like, do you want a disk drive? Buy the disk drive, plug it in. You have a disk drive. Do you not? Forget it. You don't have to worry about it. Is the way that I'm understanding the article to read. Like, it's modular. You can kind of decide.
It's kind of what I got out of it.
Yeah. So it's just, if an external disk drive will be compatible with the current digital edition units, don't know. Sounds like this will be a brand new thing. So if you have a digital PS5 now and are reading these and going, hey, maybe I can just buy the external, I don't know yet. They're not really clear whether these, once they become a thing, if they for sure become a thing, if you can do that. But I think I kind of like the idea, though. The way the article was making it sound like if they do this will probably be the only version being sold moving past that point, because they're talking about dev kits going out with this modular design, which is probably how we're getting this leak of it possibly being the next version of the PlayStation. It's not saying they're going to like up the insides, to higher specs or power or anything. So we might be seeing that as the only version of the console to be able to buy moving forward. It's just this modular box that's got all the stuff you need, and then you can decide what you want to add to it. Probably able to charge more?
Yeah. I mean, I was trying to figure that out too, because I mean, it sounds like a great idea in theory. Yeah. But at the same time, it's just like, but if I'm buying A or B and I have the choice and I can choose, then I should know what I want. And this is for indecisive people who don't know what they want.
Right. I don't
know how else to see it.
Yeah. If you're going to use the disk drive, well, I guess in this case, if that's how it's sold, you would have to.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping it's not going to be one of those things where they're still going to charge you $4.99 for the PlayStation 5 and then parse it out. I know right now there's a $50 difference, $100 difference.
It's $100, yeah.
$100. Mm-hmm. So like if you're going to go flat $3.99.
Now I will say, as someone who had. I'm just going to sound
who has all the PlayStation 5s.
Yeah, because I sound like such an egotistical jackass right now. But as a person who has two PlayStation 5s, I will say I did want a digital only in my bedroom because I thought I don't play it that often, so I won't need it. However, I am glad, and I found this out the other day, I am glad I did get a disc version because our internet went out. And I had nothing to, like, we couldn't watch any movies or anything. So if I did not have that disc, I would have not been able to play anything in the bedroom. So
as long as you already had it downloaded. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was
the rest of the game downloaded.
Right. Well, we were looking just to watch something and it was like, oh, I do have a disc drive right here. Huh. And so, I'm kind of glad now that I did. And I was like, well, that would have been, I'd have shot myself in the foot and I wouldn't have had anything to watch because I didn't have that disc.
Right?
Yeah.
Such a utility now. It's kind of crazy.
It is.
Or at least for our entertainment anyway.
Right.
But everything goes over that. Oof. Yeah. But again, another reason why I like hard copies. I mean, us PC gamers, we got nixed from that many, many, many years ago. Many, 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 many years ago.
Right.
I don't even know that they put PC games on discs anymore.
I don't really think they do. I mean, they might, but do you remember buying those? Do you remember buying those?
I do. I remember having to go to the store and having several aisles that I could browse up and down looking at all the PC games. And that's how I would decide what to buy. I would just look at the box art, read it or whatever. I don't remember getting bombarded with commercials we didn't have social media talking about it all the time. Like, I legit had to just pick it out and hope I was happy when I got home with it, because you're not returning it. It was an open electronic.
Yeah. And what was interesting about it from my perspective is I didn't know shit about specs or anything like that. I just saw, and it would always be cheap. That was the other beauty part of it too. You'd see a game, be like, oh, and it's how much? Oh my God, I got to get that for the PC. Oh my God, I got a PC at home. And then you get home and you put it in and be like, you don't have the necessary software. It's like, fuck you. This is a PC.
Have to download all the flashware, Apple. I remember having to do that. Yeah. I still have a couple of older games that's looking for like QuickTime. And I'm like, I don't know that exists anymore. Like, maybe somewhere on the deep, dark recesses of the internet, someone has it saved there for all of us. But if you don't have it on the disc, I'm probably SOL. Right?
That was my go-to way to watch movie trailers in the early 2000s because
Flash?
I would QuickTime, because I would find a site that had it and I would download the biggest, largest, high-quality file and be like, well, I'm watching this trailer in about 2 hours. I'm going to be watching this trailer as soon as I get it downloaded, and it's going to be amazing. Yeah. So,
I can remember downloading movies for like 2 days.
It
would take that long.
Forever.
Yeah. Congrats on everything being faster now.
Oh, yeah.
I remember, like, I'd be playing Aeon, and they're like, there's an update. I'm like, I can't play for about a day and a half, guys. Sorry. It's going to take that long for this to download. Oh, anywho, outside of that,
Okay.
that was it. There was like some rumors about a Last of Us 3 that I don't know if we really need to dive into all that, and something about a Steam Deck 2, and I didn't want to read anymore.
No, but you just got it. You don't need a 2 already?
No, I think they're just talking about like what different adaptations they would be making to it were they to do a Steam Deck 2, because as soon as I saw that headline, I was like, oh, this is better be clickbait, and thankfully it seemed like it was. But yeah, as soon as I saw that, I started reading through it. It looks like the biggest thing is like wanting to add controller support, which I think you can kind of already do, but I think they just really badly want to revive their Steam controller.
Okay.
It's like, we're gonna make this work in some capacity. I'm just making that up. I don't have any hard facts to prove to that, but it just feels like every time I hear about something new Valve, that controller comes back around. I'm like, you guys just really badly are not letting that go, are you?
Just stop.
We want to make sure that controller just works, you know? But yeah. That was it. I think it's just a little slower week. That the huge, big breaking. Well, it's the end of the year.
Sure. Well, I've got 3 little tidbits. One I should have brought up top because I just wanted to ask your opinion about it. It's not really game related. The other 2 are. But did you happen to see the Barbie trailer?
No. I think I saw stuff about it. Or pictures about it. Is that with Margot Robbie?
And Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling.
Now, granted,
I saw pictures. I didn't see a trailer though.
The trailer didn't really say anything about the movie. Like, it was just
what's their story? It's a freaking Barbie doll.
I don't know. I have no idea, but I'm kind of interested. I hate to say that, but I'm kind of interested just because the talent alone.
It's movie theater money worthy.
Yeah.
Like, when it comes to maybe one of my services, then fine. But
I don't know.
Well, you tell me why. You want to see it?
Just the talent alone, for starters, because I cannot imagine for the life of me. You get a director like Greta Gerwig, you get actors like Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, just to name 2 out of the several other people, to sign on to this just for a paycheck. I mean, surely,
you're allowed to just do stuff you think is fun.
I know, but Gosling doesn't seem like that type of person. He seems like he's very particular. Now, I could be wrong. Right. Absolutely, 100% could be wrong. But you take a look at his filmography.
He does have a type.
Yeah.
And I'll admit, nothing against Ryan Gosling or anything like that. I don't usually enjoy his flicks.
Okay.
because they seem to be slow. And sometimes I'm like, okay, you want me to have way more brain power to figure out what all the art is happening here. And I'm like, no. So maybe like 20 years ago, Steven would have really loved them.
Sure. Absolutely. But again, I'm not.
But yeah, you're right.
I'm
looking at his other stuff.
I'm not gonna jump like you said. I don't think I would go to the theater to see this, but I'm curious to see what the critical response is going to be about it when it comes out. Because, I mean, from an aesthetic standpoint, it seems like every little girl's dream come true who loved Barbie, because they showed like her city or town or wherever she was living.
That's why I'm wondering if it's going to hit as hard.
I don't know. So
I mean, we don't have those, thankfully, those same gendered stereotypes that, oh, you have to like this, little girls for Barbie and stuff. So I'm wondering if it'll hit the same.
I don't know. So in any case,
what the plot is. I hope it's rated R.
Oh, wouldn't that be awesome? I can't imagine Mattel's going to let that happen.
Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie, and they're like, this could go that way.
And we finally get to see Ken is no longer flat underneath. or smooth.
Why he was.
Or why he was.
Some
He's a
dark experiment. Yeah. Oh, see, I think maybe we should write a movie.
Maybe. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Maybe the mutant fan will like it.
Yeah.
Over there.
we're gonna put a pin. I'm gonna keep my eye on it. I'm curious. That's all. Again,
yeah.
The Monster High movie that came out on Paramount Plus, did I give a shit about that? No. This, on the other hand, has, I don't know, there's just something about it. I'm interested. I'm curious.
Right.
Maybe that's
They've
it.
thrown enough little pieces out where you're like, all right.
I want to see what you're up to. What else? Oh, I don't know if you saw this. I think I posted this in Discord, and we had kind of a light little discussion about it. Was Amazon announced that they're starting to develop a God of War series, which
I knew we had chatted about it before, not in any great detail, so I wasn't sure whether to go over it again. But yeah.
At the moment, I'm not going to say too much about who I want to see cast. I mean, obviously, everyone's got their choices. I know Dave Bautista is one of those people that's been like, I want to play Kratos.
Like a name face. Maybe that's just me. I don't want to.
It's difficult.
Personally, I would rather us cast some unknown,
but a good unknown in the sense that someone talented who can do what I want to see with whoever they get, because I'm assuming we're going to start back in Sparta. Like we have to go there. We can't start in the Norse mythology time, because that doesn't work for the narrative.
Okay. So
if we're starting in Sparta, and however long we're going to, because that's the other thing too. Are you going to try to cram all 3 games into one season?
Oh no, I think they'll drag it out.
I hope so. Not that we need shit dragged out, but you know what I mean. Just do it right.
I mean, I feel like everything's padding runtime now to be longer, so I just feel like they would try to maybe start with 3 seasons or something, and then go from there.
And I was trying to convey what I was thinking before, because I said in my review for Ragnarok, Sparta Kratos was just an angry man, and it was hard to sympathize
and with good reason.
With good reason, and that's Jed kind of he's one of our followers on Discord, and he kind of described it in a way that I think I was intending to say, where you can have angry Kratos and still be sympathetic. You just have to find those layers to kind of help me feel for him. Put a little bit more emphasis on that.
Okay, spoiler for a 30-year-old, 20-year-old game, but I think being forced to like murder your wife and kids is probably a good reason to be angry.
And that's the one thing I wasn't trying to play down. Yeah, absolutely. You're going to sympathize with that.
But there could be a great story arc there.
Exactly. Really flesh that out for that character, so you understand why it's all rage when it comes to everything, instead of him just seeming like a stray bullet that's just like, I'm just going to kill everything, and this is my motivation, but I'm going to kill and destroy and obliterate everything in my path along the way. And I think that's where I lost, because I never felt like they fleshed out the why outside of, well, you killed my wife and daughter. I get that. Horrible. You're angry.
Yeah.
But give me more meat to really understand, because you're toppling and you're destroying all of this gods. I don't know.
In their realms. Yeah, I think you really could pull more at if you wanted to, more of a darker tale of how all that even came to be. Maybe how it was more involved, why he was more chosen. There's probably more you could really flesh out there if you really wanted to. I think it would be important for them to explain if they're wanting to go with the same premise and stuff as the games. I think it would be important to hit those story beats just so that the audience can understand. We might hate the person, but you can still sympathize because you can understand the situation.
Yeah.
They could be still a garbage person in your mind, but all of that, and if you did it in the right way,
and I think
you'll
that's
still be on his side.
I think that's what was hard for me playing those games. Like, I liked the games, but when it came to Kratos as a person, again, I understand where he's coming from, but everything, he was just so rage fueled that everybody he talked to, every interaction he had, he just came off like a dick. It was just like, ah, ah, and he's just, and you just like, I don't like you. I sympathize with you and what you're doing, but you're a hateful son of a bitch. Make me care about him. Make me care about his vengeance.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying. They've got to work on that version's personality, because I don't feel like it needs to be the same as Norse Kratos.
Right.
That's an entirely other person. That's a man who did all this shit, and now he's living with that guilt, and he's just trying to forget it. Like, he is an older, broken man who's just like, I just want to be left alone.
Right.
So, completely different territory. So, you've got to make me sympathize more with the Spartan Kratos. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. If they do it more character driven, we'll see. I don't know. I guess I'm not as excited because I feel like that's just life right now, where all of the games I've played is becoming movies or TV series or something else. So I think I'm getting less and less excited every time I hear of a new video game going into this medium. But yeah, I'm just hopeful that they wouldn't cast some huge name that could take away from. Because I think you run into that problem a lot when you cast some larger celebrity or something, that it can kind of take away from the story. And it just because we're humans and we'll see that individual. Sometimes they get too big in my opinion.
Yeah.
Sometimes some actors have just gotten too big that's just who I see now. And,
and I think how good they are. I think another thing too that they'd have to think about long term, if you're going to do more than one season, you're going to be doing this epic tale. Just need somebody who's younger. And like I said, I like Dave Bautista for what he is, but he's up there in age. Christopher Judge.
I like Dave Bautista just fine, but an actor, he's really not. Sorry,
no, I agree.
Get shredded for saying that. He's great in the stuff that I've seen him cast in. Knives Out, fine. Did fine. Guardians of the Galaxy, cool. But I've never been like... He hasn't taken me out of a moment where I've just completely lost who I was looking at. You know what I mean?
Right.
Body shape and all that, sure, fine. Maybe even John Cena, but just like actors in my opinion.
No,
really.
Well, I mean, even like Christopher Judge. I mean, I know that he'd advocated at one point maybe doing live action. It would be fantastic. But his age,
Is he too old, do you think?
I feel like he's...
I guess start from the beginning.
Right. I feel like starting from that point, I don't know.
Which is a shame too, because I to make that crossover, I think would be beautiful, because he's already nailed the emotion and the feeling behind the character. We've heard it, so that's kind of unfortunate. But yeah, you're right.
In this day and age, they can de-age people. So
and I hate that though too. I don't know. I feel like there's so much talent out there, guys. There's so much talent out there that just to keep, I don't know. I have strong thoughts about the de-aging, adding in people who weren't legit there. Like, I have a big problem with that right now.
I get you. No, I get you.
Stop it. Hire people. Thank you.
The last one I wanted to mention, and I should have mentioned this up top, but since Henry Cavill's no longer Superman...
I don't know whether to feel bad for him or just be completely confused at all of the information I was hearing prior.
Well, he did get another job. Apparently, he's gonna starring a Warhammer series.
What?
So,
Wait,
hey, he got a job. I'm happy that he's got a job. I hate that he lost Superman because Warner Brothers told him to announce this shit when they weren't even sure what was happening. And apparently, I keep hearing, because everybody has...
for Amazon. Look,
for Amazon.
Amazon's doing all of this shit right now.
They got the money. They got all the billions of dollars. You know, because they're Amazon.
I did not see this. No, this is kind of funny though.
It was a last minute thing that kind of happened.
Stop announcing his stuff until he's on set.
Right.
Or it's getting filmed and we know for sure. Because now I really am way more curious about how it happened with The Witcher. Is it really just creative differences?
I don't know, because I know a lot of people were like, well, bring him back to The Witcher. I was like, yeah, but you've already given the job to somebody else. You can't just, don't Jay Leno him, you know?
Right?
Or Conan O'Brien him.
I thought it was dumb to continue the Geralt story anyway when you're changing actors. Like, you could be a different Witcher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it wouldn't hurt.
Especially
if you're
it's not
deviating.
Like he was the only one in the universe. That was just what these stories circled on. We could have made a different. I just dislike changing actors for the same character.
No, I get it.
And I used to watch soap operas, people, so you would think I'd be used to it. Like, people's characters got recast all the freaking time because those things never end. But I just create a new one.
It nags at you because, like, I want to see for once in a series of movies, I want to see from beginning to end the same actors finish a story. Harry Potter didn't do it because why? We lost Richard Harris. Richard Harris, he was Dumbledore. He died.
You can't control that though.
Third movie in.
Yeah.
And then the Marvel universe, they started with certain characters and then they got recast because
but didn't
creative
they just reboot?
Differences. Well, no, because we're talking about because Edward Norton, his Hulk is actually part of the MCU, but he apparently was difficult on set, so we're like, we're just going to replace him and just be like, yeah.
See, I just figured they rebooted the Hulk with what's his name, because there's been so many new movies.
No, it's still that that movie exists. They finally acknowledged it exists, but they just so we'll just recast him. It's fine. And then who was it? Terrence Howard. He was the original Rhodey in Iron Man, and then they replaced him with Don Cheadle in part 2.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I do remember being confused about that, too, because I thought dude was good. I like Don Cheadle, too, but I was just like, that's not who was here before.
I've heard so many stories. I've heard that he asked for more money, and then the studio said no. I've heard that
Don Cheadle was cheaper?
Right? I felt like I don't know.
I feel like he would cost more.
Well, it seemed like it was in the transition of Disney, when Disney was finally buying up the Marvel Studios, and then they were trying to cut costs. And the guy who was actually running things at the time, Ike Perlmutter, he was a cheap, money-grubbing Scrooge bastard who wouldn't spend a dime. And if you take a look at the quality of life of the films early on to where they are now, not to say, forget Phase 4, because I know people will be like, Phase 4 sucks. Shut up. We're talking about Phase 1 to Phase 3. There's a big difference. If that man had still been in charge of the finances by Phase 3, I guarantee you those last 2 Avengers movies would not be anything like they are. Because he'd be like, we can't afford that. We're not doing that. Nah.
And it's of their own making.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you built up all these celebrities to have that paycheck. You know what I mean? For the most part.
But no, this is in their transition when they were buying stuff and they were cutting costs. Be like, nope, I'm not spending it. And then when he was like, hey, I got a bigger role in this and I'm going to be War Machine, he's like, I don't care. You're not getting paid shit. So
still feel like Don Cheadle would be more, but
you'd think,
I don't know.
You'd think, but maybe
unless I just really don't understand who's a bigger actor at that time, and I'm losing track of how well we knew Don Cheadle then as opposed to now. But I feel like he's been around a while.
He has. He's been around since. Yeah. I'm gonna blow your mind if you don't remember this. He was in the Golden Girls spinoff, The Golden Palace.
What?
Yes.
I know I saw it, but it would have been one of those things where I don't know who they are right now.
Right.
Like when I used to watch Ghost Rider, Samuel L. Jackson, that was like his first one, but it didn't click that that's who it was, dude's dad on the show that I was watching as a kid, because I don't think we really knew who he was yet.
Exactly.
So when you look back on it, you're like, what?
It's like, holy shit, oh my God, I can't believe he was in that.
It's hard to think of a time we didn't know who you were.
So, yeah, Cavill's fine. I think I didn't feel like he was going to be hurting. It sucks that he was put through this
all of that
up and down, especially with the character of Superman, because he seemed like he really enjoyed doing it.
Excited to come back.
Yeah, the studio kept being like, well, I don't know if we want to bring him back. It's like, but why? Everyone likes him. And then they're like, fine, we're going to do it. And then it's like, okay, well, then we're going to give it to these guys. And then they can decide. And we're like, yeah, we're not going to try to fix this sinking ship. So we're just going to start fresh.
Feels
and
like was
sorry.
WB trying to force Gunn into like using Cavill.
I heard, and again, this is all speculation. I don't know shit, but it sounded like it was The Rock who forced Warner Brothers to put him in. Like, I want to fight Superman. I want to fight Superman. So he's got to come back. It
had to be the Cavill Superman.
It had to be the Cavill Superman. Again, it's all speculation. I don't know. But even his...
I'm kind of curious who you would even cast now.
I have no idea. I don't have any thoughts. But again...
It better be an unknown.
It's kind of where I'm at. Christopher Reeve was an unknown at the time. Henry Cavill, didn't really know who he was at the time. That's what seems to work for these. You even look back. Have you ever heard? I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent, but have you ever heard the cast list of possible actors they wanted for Superman in the Christopher Reeve version, the original Richard Donner?
I don't know that I remember right now off the top of my head, no.
Just some names that you look at and be like, no. Absolute Paul Newman, Robert Redford.
Well,
he
was a big deal, though, so I could see them trying to throw Robert Redford, like, force him into it.
And that's just two names I could think of off the top of my head. There were so many that they were so like, well, he could be Superman, he could be Superman. It's like, they don't look anything like him.
No. Not if you're going for like the look of how he is in the comics now. They don't look like him at all. No.
But to my understanding, the story goes, if I remember the documentary correctly, is that someone saw Christopher Reeve, I think it was in a dentist's office, and they were like, you kind of have the face, the look, and kind of, It's like, are you an actor maybe? And then they called him in for an audition and then blew him out of the water.
That's great.
Yeah.
He's still who I kind of think of
sometimes. When
it comes to Superman,
Yeah.
I know there were ones before, but
I don't dismiss anybody that's ever played the character, and I give credit where credit's due to most of the actors who've played Superman. But Christopher Reeve, he just that is somebody who just embodied one of the most
very serious about the work at that time too.
Yeah, there was just so much about it. Yeah, he's one of those actors that was cast perfectly.
Yeah,
there are some. I mean, he's not the only one. I would even say Robert Downey Jr. kind of embodied Tony Stark in a way that I'd never thought about. But when I saw him, I was like, holy shit, he kind of does look like Tony Stark. Yeah. One of my all-time favorites is Alfred Molina as Dr. Octopus. I could not imagine what that would look like when they said his name, and I was like, I know the guy, but would he look? And then the very first poster I saw for Spider-Man 2, him in the getup, I was like, holy shit, that's him. That's him. So yeah, there's just some people they've cast that was just so on point, and Christopher Reeve will always be in my mind until another actor can come along and just nail the overall look and everything.
I think I would still give them props, but it still would always go to... It's just the first one that I can recall growing up. I mean, he was Superman before me, but like...
Yeah,
I remember
George
watching
Reeves.
Those older flicks. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was me. That was the one I remember. So...
Yeah. Anyway, I got off on a tangent. So how about we do a little game review? You want a little game review?
Let's do it.
Okay. I thought this would be fun because it was it's newer. I won't say like it came out about 2 weeks ago. That's how new it is.
Okay, that's
by this
new.
point. Yeah. And when I saw it, I thought it would be fun to talk about. Once I started playing, I was like, I'm gonna do a game review. I wasn't 100% sure I wanted to, and then I thought, no, I'm gonna do it because I feel like this is a game that's gonna need a little bit of attention. It needs to be put into the world a little bit, and I feel like this is a great way to do it. Might not be for everybody, but this is just my opinion. So, there are rare instances anymore when I will buy a game on the fly. As we were talking about before, we do the research, we kind of wait, see if it's going to be worth our money, and we're afraid that we're going to get a lemon, and good reason. We see how AAA games go anymore.
Right.
But with not today's game, I saw one trailer for this title, which somehow I missed the original trailer, because apparently there was a trailer about a year ago, and I don't remember it. But the day the game launched, there was a launch trailer on YouTube. I saw the icon art and I thought, I'll click on that. Let's see what that is. Watched the trailer, hadn't heard one thing about this game, saw it, and I said, I'm sold. I picked up my phone, and bought it right then and there. So I didn't hesitate because I thought, this is a game I know I will love.
Okay.
And what game am I talking about, you may ask? And what on earth could have convinced me to just drop my money so fast on a game? The game is called Terror of Hemasaurus.
Oh, gosh.
Does it sound familiar at all?
I could... no, I'm just by that name, I could see why you clicked.
Right.
Horror? Possible monsters? Yes.
If you know me well enough, like my sis does, the title alone should have given you any indication as to what drew me in. But there's so much more, what led me here. And using my time to review the game in its entirety, I did play all the game. But before diving in too deep, I kind of want to mention the game's creator, Loren Lemcke. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. Okay. Loren is a self-described one-man indie studio trapped in a tangent universe where the arcade scene of the 80s and 90s lived on forever. That's his quote, not mine.
Okay.
He has developed two other games that I could find, one called Over 9,000 Zombies, and the other Super Blood Hockey, with the latter being one to note as it pays homage to the 8-bit and 16-bit hockey games of the era, albeit with gratuitous added violence that was not allowed at the time. Remember ice hockey where you could just get into fights with people? It was just simple ice hockey, but we all wanted just to get into a fight, so that's what we do. And everybody just pile on. That's what I do.
Pile it up, yeah.
It's like the hell with my I got thrown into the box. It doesn't matter. I just wanted to fight somebody. But Terror of Hemasaurus is a clear homage to Rampage, but with added gore and destruction. And while, yes, you could summarize the game as such, like some reviewers are, it completely dismisses some of the more improved gameplay elements as well as the accompanying satire woven into the game's story. The game's narrative starts in Norway in the year 2030, where an important climate summit is taking place. The moderator...
Around the corner.
Right. The moderator introduces the world's leading climate scientist, Hans Pissenschaft, and the world's richest man, the international fat cat Richie Horderson, who's the heir to the Polluta Corp fortune. As Dr. Pissenschaft explains that the world is on the brink of a major climate event, Mr. Horderson does what every billionaire does, he deflects, even as proof of everything is happening right behind them. Horderson begins talking about how the economy is in trouble and it should be the focal point and none of this other, mumbo jumbo that he's just trying to sell you on. Climate change isn't real. No one can see what climate change is. What is that? And as the dialogue continues, and even the game itself, it's abundantly clear that Horderson is an amalgam of several billionaires we know by name, and even one who claims to be, but, I think he's lying. We won't say his name. It's a very big name, but we won't say his name. And there was even...
Some new nifties.
Nifties. What the fuck? We won't get into that. That's a whole other conversation. There was even... And I thought this was I didn't see it at first, and then I looked a little harder, and I was like, that's clever. There was even a bit where Horderson was creating a spaceship or a spacecraft to launch himself out of Earth to get away
In the
from all
game?
because it was like, well,
So-
all these people are crazy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a base on the moon, and I'm going to run the business from there. You all are going to stay here. Now, this is when everything was going chaotic. He's like, you're all going to stay here. I'm going to go there, and I'm going to run everything from the moon. And they're like, but how exactly? It doesn't matter. I'm going to go there. You stay here, and that's how this is going to work. Pretty much to run away from all the problems. And then you see his ship off in the background, and it's shaped like a big penis. And I was like,
As you do.
perfect.
Yeah.
Now this
So I can show the world.
Now, this disregard for climate change allows the polar ice caps to begin melting, freeing the trapped Hemasaurus, along with a few other playable monsters, who were created by the Church of the Holy Lizard, a cult charged with the sacred duty to save humanity from its own reckless disregard for the planet.
Is this
Now-
Scientology?
Yes. to do so, what they do is in the... Okay, now follow me here. It might get a little complicated, but follow me. Now, in the future, the church creates the Hemasaurus. They then take their time machine, send the Hemasaurus back in time to be frozen, to be then eventually thawed out on this very day, to then wreak havoc on humanity in hopes of motivating humanity to do something about climate change, then so that the future can be saved, but it had to be at this point in time, and then that's what they did. So
How far
clearly,
back did they send the dinosaur or the Hemasaur?
well, see, I don't think we ever got a date. Like, I don't remember seeing a
So I
specific
was gonna say
date.
you might want to throw it way far back, like Industrial Revolution days, so we can be like, heads up, guys.
Right. Well, I mean, the time in which we're playing in now should be 2030, when the polar ice caps are melting. So that's where.
Okay.
But they would have had to have sent him farther back to freeze him into the ice, right?
Right.
So now, at what point in time in the future, they may have said in the game, and I just forgot. But
Okay.
eventually, in the future, the time machine's going to work. Okay.
Okay.
And
In very near future.
clearly, it worked. Whatever they did.
Nice.
Because the Hemasaurus is in 2030. But the problem is that their time machine doesn't work now. Okay, so they have a problem because they're trying to work it out. Okay, so what happened is that they were trying to prove to the Hemasaurus when they unthawed it, and they were just like, praise be, this is all, and they're explaining their plan to this obvious creature that probably doesn't give two shits. And they're like, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to show you how the time machine works. Now, it doesn't work yet, but we're almost there. And they say, please, would you step into the time machine? They send one of their followers into the time machine. And his entire body turns into a skeleton. And they say, you see, so what happened was that we sent all of his flesh and meat into the past, soft tissue, but we can't send bone yet. So...
So he's dead.
Yeah, but you can see that it's still working. I mean, at least something went back in time. It's just not everything.
Imagine being the person on the receiving end of that.
Oh,
flesh
we
and
get to
no
see
bone.
that. We get to see
Oh,
that.
Good. I'm sure everyone was very calm.
Well, who got to see it is part of the story as well, which is kind of fun. So I won't spoil that if you want to check it out. But moments like this give you a clear indication what kind of game you're in for, because the story sends a very direct message that shit needs to change in regards to humanity's response to climate change. But it does do it in a very dark humor way.
Sure.
And it even pokes fun at itself. There was even a section where the game creator himself was trying to pitch this game, and the company willing to buy the game was like, okay, but do you need the politics in the game? Do you need the blood? Do you need the gore? Do you need all this stuff to be in the game? Because people are a little iffy, and then they even did play testers, and the play testers were like, keep politics out of games. I don't like when a game gets political. Little bits
I
like
also
that.
think some people are confused what actually is politics.
Exactly. So what
But whatever.
this is essentially the satirical way, kind of using the platform to point fingers at these very people who do exist in the world, who bitch and complain about what's in their games and what's happening. So this guy is very much on the pulse, hearing how everything is going right
Gamer.
now. Yeah, gamer
TM.
all that. Now, in regards to gameplay, comparisons to Rampage are accurate to a point. You are a giant monster, and you are tasked to destroy all the buildings, or at least 75%. That's your bare minimum. You can destroy all of it if you want. It's up to you. Those goals can change from time to time. Sometimes they'll say, hey, only destroy red buildings. Don't touch the blue ones. And you think, okay, well, that seems easy enough. And sometimes they just tell you to eat the people. Don't touch it, but don't destroy anything. You gotta just eat the people or kill the people. Don't do a thing.
I mean, that would solve a lot of climate crisis.
It really would. And like I said, you may be playing and thinking, it'd be a piece of cake. But sometimes the chaos that increases can make it difficult. And so does your inability to keep everything intact. Like Rampage, you can eat humans, but some humans will fight back. You have police, you have military, you have SWAT team.
How big are you?
You're pretty big. You know, I'd say you're about 20 to 50 feet tall if you're doing that kind of size comparison.
So once the military steps in, you might have some trouble. I feel like regular people like poking your toe would be like, that's cute, and just step on them.
Yeah, most of the regular citizens will run in fear. The police, the SWAT, and all that, they'll shoot at you. And when they fight back, sometimes, like with the police, it's just like bang, bang. You'll get rednecks come by with their shotguns, bang, bang. And if you're not paying attention, you can lose your life real quick. That's where the challenge can come in, because especially with the military, they've got machine guns.
Well, they've got like all the fancy stuff, yeah.
Sure.
Especially by 2030. What we got now.
Yeah. So your energy can disappear really quick if you don't pay attention. So I blinked one time and I was dead before I knew it. I was like, oh shit, what happened? Like, I didn't even see the guy, and he was just like, brrr. So always keep eating. Always keep an eye on your health. Obviously devouring
Keep
humans.
eating them people.
That's right. Unlike Rampage, you can dispose of humans in creative ways, different ways. Instead of eating them, you can pick them up. You can toss them in the air. You can play with them if you want, jump up and grab them, and then do it again. And just continue to throw them in the air.
And I will pet you and squeeze you and call you George.
Right. But if, maybe you don't want to throw them, you can throw them up, you can throw them down, you can throw them side to side. You can smash them into each other. That's a fun challenge to do. Just throw one up, grab another, throw another one up.
I just keep dropping them to catch them.
Right?
Just like, they might die of a heart attack before you're done, though. You're like, I can't take it.
I mean, now I want to see a video of just like all these people flying up in the air and it go, it's raining men, hallelujah, it's raining men. Okay. Now, like I said, you can throw them, you can kick them, and if you're talented enough, just like the catching thing, you can make a game out of it and try to see how many kicks you can keep on one person, because apparently there's an achievement for that, and I've had a really hard time keeping one in the air. You have to kick 10 times.
It's straight, yeah, because it's not like a ball, like a perfect system. So
right.
You're kicking their shoulder, they might go to the right or something. Yeah.
I feel like the physics of it is what throws me off, because I'll kick them straight up, and then I feel like I'm trying to reposition, but then they're kind of coming over just a little bit, and then I've got to try to position myself to kick them again, and then I always overshoot it, so I miss it, kick, and I'm like, oh. And then now they're a big splotch on the side of the pavement. It's like, damn it. Gotta get it. I could start over. But yeah, you can even, if you want to have some real fun and take down enemies to boot, grab them and throw them into helicopter blades, and bring the helicopter down that way. That's fun, because you hear
get in the way.
You hear and be like, that was nice. There are passing cars going down, and you talk about taking down choppers or even buildings. Swift kick to that car straight into a building. You watch how fast that bitch will go down. Boom!
Does it blow up?
It's so satisfying when you see it just plow through a building, and then that thing just comes toppling down. Oh my God, it's just so fun. Much faster than a typical punch, because like Rampage, you can climb the buildings, you can punch them, but there are so many ways to make it faster. Another great method of leveling a city is you climb to the top of a building, you jump off, and you do a cannonball down to the foundation, and then that impact will then level the bottom and then bring it all down. Now,
I would imagine.
That only really works if it's a tall building. So some of the smaller ones you can try it, but it doesn't have the same impact. The higher you go, the better impact you get. It's always fun.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, another aspect that I feel makes it far superior is talking about the physics system that I mentioned. This physics system that they've created with the buildings is where it really shines, because it allows you to collapse buildings into one another. So if you start punching on one side, the physics will then start to tilt the building in that direction. If you climb to the top, especially after wearing down one side of it, you'll then start to bring it down. Like your weight will then start to make the building start to tip. So you can get maximum efficiency smashing them into one another. Take them on both sides, one this way, one that way, and then make them collapse into one another, and then it'll just drop.
And level it.
So it's so pleasing to watch them just boom, just everything everywhere. You're like, yes. So your inner demolitionist will be very happy.
Very, very pleased.
Graphically, the game leans into a very common pixel art aesthetic, like Broforce or Not a Hero. I don't know if you remember those games.
Yeah, I remember Broforce.
The monsters, for me, are the highlight, with 4 to choose from, as I mentioned. You have the Hemasaurus, you have the Clock Sloth, you have Salamandra, and the Autonomous Hemasaurus, which I consider the Mecha Hemasaurus, because it's like Mecha Godzilla, Mecha Hemasaurus. Hemasaurus is pretty much looks like Godzilla. Clock Sloth, I give them credit for not doing the ape. So it's just like a big lumbering sloth. And then a salamander. Kind of looks like the others, but it's a salamander, so, you know. It's
How fast
different.
is the sloth?
It's actually pretty fast. I mean, it's not like super slow. Everybody kind of moves at about the same pace, so
Okay.
you don't have anything like that. Now, it plays similar, but they all have their own special abilities. Like, your special ability is kind of like your big move if you want to do maximum damage. And you can unleash devastating damage on the screen, but you also have to make sure you got enough energy in that meter of yours, because it'll help you get out of a jam real quick. Because if you're getting overwhelmed, you can hit that button, and the Hemasaurus will just roar, and then it's like sound waves just rippling through, and then everything around you will start to collapse. The Clock Sloth actually slows down time, and like this big burst of energy.
Okay.
So I didn't. The only one I didn't get to see, didn't actually play with, was the Salamandra, because the Autonomous Hemasaurus actually has a missile, and it'll shoot it out, and just you can target it somewhere, and maximum damage there for sure. The music by Sean Daly fits with the aesthetic, has that 8-bit kind of tones to it. Very reminiscent of like music from the NES days. And while I did enjoy the tunes, okay, hear me out here. I did enjoy the tunes. I couldn't help just get this thing in me where I just had to turn it off and then go to Spotify and then turn on some legit Godzilla music and just hear dun, 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 and I'm just smashing through, and it's like legit Japanese Godzilla film movie music, and I'm just like, this fits. This fits. This is better.
Yeah.
That's not to dismiss him. That's just my own nerdiness. Just saying, wouldn't this be cool if I could just, play with that music? Wouldn't that be awesome? It was awesome.
Yeah.
So it just seemed like the right idea to me. Anyway, the only hiccup I had in the game was while I was playing with Katrina, because this is a local co-op game. You can do that. 2 players on the screen, just like you can do 4 if you want to do that as well, if you've got 4 people laying around. We got into a bonus round, and through the story you get bonus rounds where it'll just say, hey, destroy this however many helicopters within a time limit. Whoever does the most damage wins, and something to that effect. Well, at one point we were tasked, weirdest task I've ever seen, we were supposed to hug and cuddle 4 dogs and 4 cats.
Aww.
Because we love we're not going to hurt the animals. We're loving them. So 2 buildings, people walking around, and then people like to stick their heads out of the buildings, much like in Rampage, but it's a lot more frequent here. So you get a lot of people running around. So you have to do 4 dogs, 4 cats. Okay, so we're climbing, we're trying to grab what we can. But at some point, when we reach maybe like 4 of one or 4 of another, the game really just kind of came to a halt. As if we could barely move our characters, and it was horrible. To the point we were like, I think we're going to have to stop playing. We restarted the level several times in hopes of, circumventing that. And we never saw it anywhere else. It was odd. It was just in
do
this
it
one.
again though in the same spot?
Every single time. On this specific level, every single time. We made it through because I felt like if we could, because you could still play it. It was just frame, like it was just
must need to be optimized a little bit more in that section, maybe.
I mean, it was really, maybe it was becoming overwhelmed with all the sprites, but what was odd is I feel like I've seen it was no more chaotic than any of the others. You know?
There might be just like a boo-boo in the code somewhere or something that he may patch out. You said it's still fairly new, right?
Yeah, so I'm hoping that maybe we're not the only ones and that he'll eventually get that fixed, because it was just one little thing that we could have quickly ended our gameplay just to be like, I can't do that. But we persevered because it was just like, all we need is like 3 more cats or 3 more dogs from one of us. If we can just manage it and get through the level, we'll see if it continues. And once we got through it, it was fine. Never happened again. So just be aware of that level. At the time of this writing, I don't know if it's actually...
Loving animals was too strong.
Way too strong. And I thought maybe it was part of the game. At one point, I was like, is this supposed to happen? I don't know.
I mean, yeah.
But,
hard to tell, right? Like, is it meant to be more chaotic?
Yeah. So I have no idea, but I don't think it was meant to be that way, because that was rough. Terror of Hemasaurus may not be for everyone. In fact, those gamers that like to say, keep politics out of my games, should probably steer clear, because they are in the crosshairs of this creator. He knows the audience he's taking aim at.
To make fun of it all, eh? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And they probably won't like that. They might like the carnage and the chaos in between, but the story, like, I don't like what they're trying to say about me or about climate change.
I was going to say about you. No, you put yourself in that story. But
exactly. The game does enforce a very powerful message through dark humor. I personally would love to see this in a movie. Rework some of the satirical aspects, maybe take the aims at other things like Hollywood, for example, because it's ripe. I mean, everything's there. It's ripe to be made fun of. The dialogue had me, I LOL'd pretty hard at several times just at the dialogue alone, because I was like, okay, that got a good chuckle out of me. Just because you hear it in your head going, yeah. That's hilarious.
We've known that person or been to that thing. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. It's a very short, simple game with a clear message and a lot of fun in between. I don't know what more you could ask for. Very affordable right now. I think I paid $11.99 for it. Of course, that was the pre-order. Well, it was pre-order.
I see it's on Steam also. So
I recommend it. If you're not one of those sticklers, the game's got to be a certain amount of time. You could probably barrel through it in about 2 hours or more. And then,
fun short experience.
Yeah. And then if the story is not your bag, you just want to do, destruction.
Beat 'em up.
Do the endless mode. They've got play until you die, because it's arcadey, because you have lives. We never did get a game over, which I will say I'm proud of. But except in the endless mode, I did do the endless mode. Got I don't know how many levels.
Well, you're here now, so I imagine you had to have lost at some point.
Yeah, sure. But I did not reach 40, but I at least got past 10. So somewhere in between. Yeah. But it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. So if you just mindless destruction, that's all it is. And you can have that in endless mode. If you want a great story, you can play the story mode. So I recommend it, and I highly recommend everybody check it out.
There you go. It sounds like fun. I
think
shorter experiences. So Terror of Hemasaurus, right?
Mm-hmm. Nice. Should be available everywhere you get your games. I don't think it's on any other, or not on a platform right now.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, all I looked on was Steam, so I see it there. You were on PlayStation.
Mm-hmm. But it should be on Switch and should be on Xbox, if that's your bet.
And you never know, because, like, this is the time of year for Steam and them to have their sales, so maybe go check it out, because I see the Game Awards sale.
Yeah.
Ish. For indies on Steam is on sale right now too, so you can go check them out.
And I know
if we need more games in our backlog,
sure,
right, siblings, like.
But 2 hours, it's not gonna kill you.
No. I just like to collect the names of the games in my Steam, and that's about it.
Oh, I've so many times looked back at my library, going, "Did I get that? Huh? Okay."
I'm sure I haven't beaten nowhere near other games that I have in there, or probably downloaded all of them or given it a second thought. When I streamed, I was given a lot of keys that I didn't know what it was going to be until I entered it into Steam. So, you're like, well, all right.
Okay.
Thank you. Anywho, but that's our show, I guess. And enjoy your holidays, of course, siblings. We got one more, yeah? Before we're...
we'll have a mini next week, just to kind of close out the year. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. So you can hit us up sometime on Twitter, maybe for a little while longer, at Super Mega Crash, or go to Instagram to view the weekly icon art. Steven puts his time and love into. You can also support the show by liking and leaving reviews on your preferred podcast app, and even going to patreon.com/Pencil and Paper Productions. Oh, I forgot. You can also send us an email if you like to supermegacrash@gmail.com. And we're getting good at Discord. Come make us great and join our Discord and chat with us. Links are in the description down below. So thank you so much for listening. I am Lacey Finley.
And I'm Stephen White.
And you can join us again next time, Super Mega Crash siblings. But until then,
game on.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.